Well, I'm not sure who we is, but I basically said that this peace deal was not real, wasn't going to last. I'm glad they got the hostages back, but they promised to give the deceased back. And they deceptively entered into the agreement because they didn't even have possession of the deceased, while they promised to give the deceased back within, 72 hours. But Hamas also promised that they're going to disarm. Well, they're not. Not only are they not disarming, but, they said, oh, well, they got to go dig up the deceased. Like, they didn't even have possession of them to promise them in 72 hours, right? Anyways, so now they're executing people, Palestinian rivals. They're not saying specifically who it is that they're executing, but I asked, AI if this was true, and it says, in fact, they did. After this so-called peace deal, now they're attacking other people. And keep in mind, if you know the history of Hamas, they started out with a document many years ago that said that they would never accept a two-state ever, and that they would not even consider those types of talks. And not only that, but they would celebrate killing all Jews. And so then there's a documentary from, 10 or so years ago, where somebody went in and talked to the Gazans, and they just would casually talk about killing Jews. They didn't want to just get rid of all of Israel. And I mean, it's on YouTube, right? It's on YouTube. That he just went around talking to people about what should they do with the Jews if they if they take over all of Israel. Should they just allow them to go somewhere else? No, they should kill them. That's what some of them said. And then others was well, they should just leave. So these are people who've been indoctrinated since Hamas took in order, which, by the way, they were voted into power. Now, that doesn't mean every person in Gaza voted them in power, but they didn't just go in there and forcibly take over. They voted them in power. And they paraded with them and celebrated them when they brought the hostages out almost well over a year later. And they love Hamas. So they're not innocent. So now Hamas is openly, publicly executing people after they had signed an agreement, got 2,000 convicted terrorists released from prison who have life sentences. Convicted terrorists were released. Thousands of them. And now, did they honor their deal? Oh, well, we got the hostages back. But now, they publicly executed rivals. We don't know who those rivals are. And then conducted a deadly crackdown on opposing groups, whoever the opposing groups were, in Gaza since the ceasefire took place. That is seen as a move to reassert control over the territory. So they were supposed to disarm. Yeah, that's not happening. So I think I don't like that we are a part of NATO. We should say, hey, NATO, if you do not immediately remove the states from this organization, this alliance, who voted against Israel to put a terrorist president over this area, and knowing that they're not going to honor any kind of peace deal, they should be sanctioned. They shouldn't be considered our allies. And I'm talking about France, Canada, and the UK, because they voted against Israel. And so meanwhile, Hamas is now just openly executing other people. Now they got 2,000 convicted terrorist prisoners released. Okay, they haven't given the dead bodies back. Didn't even have the dead bodies to promise to give them back. Okay, now they're acting like they got to dig them up, right? So, this is what Trump said. If they continue to kill people, not they should be held accountable for breaching their agreement already, and a lot of people are already upset that they're not giving over the deceased as promised. They're not disarming as promised, and now they're executing people boldly, publicly. It says, if Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Who's we? Is the United States of America going to go to war over there? I think that we have I think we have the right to know exactly who we is. I think that this president who's using the word we should definitely clarify exactly what that means. What do you think?